Tomlinson trying to settle the score out west. Keep your eye on the ball. NFL Primetime next.
NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Primetime is Miller time. And now, here's your host, Chris Berman.
Oh, look at this. It's Halloween. It's our favorite time of year. We're our usual costume. Welcome to week 7 of NFL Primetime. Bella Lugosi along with Tom Jackson. Hello, Thomas.
How you doing, bro? Trick or treat to you.
Trick or treat. I tell you what, there were some treats today in some of the games.
Yeah.
Week 7 is early games, late games, a lot of finishes right at the end, a lot of big comebacks, huge comebacks.
Well, I think a huge weekend for a lot of teams planning to go somewhere at the end, planning to be around at the end. And we said must-wins for some of these teams going into week 7.
Well, this wasn't a must-win situation, but these are two of the more, it put smiles on your face to see 4-1 San Francisco against 4-1 Chicago, like the old days at Soldier. 1-0 Tampa Bay. Then, up 34-8. And he runs right over the Jolly Roger. Touchdown all-stop. 129 yards, 3 TDs for him as Tampa Bay. Boy, they do this all the time with Minnesota. We're going to show you in a minute. 41-14 over the Vikings as they outgain them 446 to 192. Defense and offense play it hard. The Bucs haven't had a complete game in a long time. Warren Sapp with our Hank Goldberg. Hammer.
Thanks, Boomer. Well, Warren, the first half about as perfect as you could get. They had the ball 5 times, no first downs. How about that?
Well, we just wanted to come out and get ourselves back into a groove. Get ourselves back playing our ball game where we can go get on a run.
Is this what you would call buck ball, what you guys showed out here this afternoon?
That's a little better than buck ball. A buck ball will give you a nail bite at the end. We pretty much put this one away early.
Well, with Allstott running the way he did and, you know, those long drives by the offense and you guys stopping them the way you did.
All 53 guys on the field doing an effective job. Special teams playing well for us, getting a couple kick returns, and the offense just putting up 41 points for big.
All right, let's go back to primetime.
All right, Hammer, Dave. Tommy, sometimes the Bucs this year have looked like the blind leading the blind. They were much better today.
Well, I think this is exactly what Tony Dungy has talked about. He's talked about playing well in all 3 phases, and I think that when you heard Warren Sapp there say special teams, defense, offense, all played with great effort today and great adjustments by their coaching staff as well.
They go into Green Bay next week, and let's see how they respond to that. Now, when Minnesota comes, and we talked about it this morning on Sunday NFL Countdown, so we go inside the numbers. 4 games now the Vikings have played at the new Sombrero. The first 3 years, 98, 99, and last year, they come in 7-0, 7-4, 7-0, but they come away with a loss. Last year was a big style. This time, the Vikes come in 3-3. It's always the spot for Tampa Bay to seemingly look like a team that can go places in the postseason.
And it usually looks like a confidence builder for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as they make that stretch 1 run that we're finally getting used to.
We'll see at Green Bay. Wonder what the temperature will be. Inside Cleveland Browns at the year was home against the Chiefs. Don't tell me the Chiefs are going to come in and take upset. Well, Doug Flutie, 4-0 with the Chargers at home this year. And their 3rd straight home game, though, this one looked a little different at the beginning. Jerome Woods picks it off, returns it to the 32-yard line, sets up a Peterson field goal, 3-0 Chiefs. Then Flutie rolls out and can't avoid the big man. Dwayne Clemens sacks him, throws him hard to the ground, lands on his head. Concussion, had to leave second quarter.
And this is when you realize how really small Doug Flutie is. When you see Dwayne Clemens flip him over like that, he's a tough guy, but he took a shot to the head. Looks like a little slight concussion.
9-0 Chiefs, a lateral. Trent Green and Tony Gonzalez to Michael Ricks. Oh, those tricky Chiefs down to the 7. 3 plays later, big game for Priest Holmes. 181 yards, 3 of them here. 19-0 Kansas City at the half. But wait a minute, Drew Brees is blowing in for Flutie. And Drew Brees underthrown, but Jeff Graham is there, 41 yards down to the 25. LaDainian Tomlinson left for a while injured, sweeps right for a touchdown, 19-10. With the score 19-13 in the 4th. Drew Brees, Curtis Conway, that looked very smooth. 27 yards to the 20-yard line. Next play, Drew Brees pumps, spread Vinny Jones, touchdown, 20 yards. The Lightning Bolt, San Diego Superchargers. 20-19, they lead it. But Priest Holmes, running well on a Sunday, as a Priest should. Down to the 20. Holmes to the 12. Tough carries. Tony Richardson, touchdown. They go for 2, no good. It's 25-20. San Diego down 5. 51 seconds left. Freeze to Tim Dwight. Oh, man. Jerome Woods knocks his helmet off. Personal foul. Chargers in business. Kansas City territory. Freeze. Running. Tries to lateral. It's forward. The game ends. And Dick Vermeil and the Chiefs. They're not going to keep it down all year. The Chiefs win for only the second time. And a tough loss for San Diego. A donut game. With at Denver and at Oakland coming up. We should have this one. Those are the ones the young team.
Yeah, we know that happens, but Dick Vermeil and his team, boy, what a job of running the football with Priest Holmes today for 181 yards.
And now, can they do it again at Soldier Field? Two teams with great fans and great history. The Papa Bear and Paul Brown. The Bears and the Browns, each in the hunt. Shane Matthews hit by Wally Rainier, fumbled, picked up by Courtney Brown. His first game this year. Look at the big fella move. His touchdown in his first game in year number 2 for him. 7-0 Cleveland. Paul Enger, fake field goal. They're going to pooch kick. Great play, Bears special teams. Down at the 1. You know who would like that? You know who would? The Papa Bear. Next Bears drive. The A train gets the little flick from Shane Matthews. He picks up 20 yards. Later in the drive, Anthony Thomas runs it in for the score. He had a $1.09 in the first half, 7-7. Now we go to the third, 4th and 1, Cleveland at the Bears 31. Tim Couch emerging to Quincy Morgan down to the 4, 27 yards. Couch. Next, go ahead, Tom.
That was a 4th and 1 call, just a gutsy call by the coach.
And then backpedaling to Mike Sellers. It's a Sellers market. 14-7, Cleveland. Next drive for the Browns. Couch. And you're going to find it tipped by last week's hero, Mike Brown, but this time into the hands of Kevin Johnson. 55 yards, 21-7. Cleveland!
And Mike Brown does a great job of playing the football, does everything except bring it down. It tips into Johnson's hands. Sometimes better to be lucky than good.
So it's 21-7. Minute to go in the 4th. Matthews to Des White. Crash into me down to the 15-yard line. The Shane Matthews band. It's marching to Marty Booker. Touchdown. 30 seconds left. 21-14. You know what's coming. The onside kick. Look at the bounce. The Bears have it. It changes hands, what, 14 times?
Maybe more.
Bears, can you believe, down 15-4 with 4 minutes to go last week. They won an OT. It can't happen again. When have we seen that happen this week? Wait a minute. Tipped and caught by James Allen on the final play. We're tied at 21.
Yeah, you see the ball get tipped right there by James Allen. An impossible play for the Chicago Bears, but they end up again with a miracle play at the end of a game.
So we go to overtime, and the Bears win the toss, but they punt. Cleveland. Tim Couch tipped by Brian Robinson. It's Mike Brown. Touchdown. Wait a minute. New York Yankees, games 4 and 5. Chicago Bears, week 7 and 8. The Papa Bear thrills the Bears in overtime for the second straight week. They're 6-1 as they win it by the count of 27-21. I'm not sure. I believe I saw that. 2 touchdowns last seconds of the game. Tommy, maybe there's some magic at Soldier Field, too. Give them the nod.
Both teams, and that's the point. I think that both teams show that they're really competitive, really good, solid football teams, but the Chicago Bears are finding a way to win, and I think they have stability, not only with that defense, but boy, does the A-Train, Anthony Thomas, give them something that they can depend on week in and week out. Very, very hard runner.
357 throwing for Matthews. A-Train, 96 yards running, and despite an unbelievable game for Courtney Brown. More on that in a moment. The Bears up their mark, their amazing mark. This year, the Chicago Bears remain in first place at 6-1. Game balls coming up. Ridden line. Leading the NFL in rushing. Can he rush the Jets to a win at the bottom of the hour at the Saints? That's our Sunday night game.
Primetime Players is brought to you by 1010-220. Dial it, and all calls up to 20 minutes are only 99 cents.
Boom, my game ball goes to the Titans, Steve McNair, a game that they had to win, and boy, did he perform. You see the numbers there, the 2 touchdowns passing and the 2 running.
Tommy, with the Bears winning, obscured is Courtney Brown's first game of the year. 3 sacks, a fumble return for a touchdown, 7 tackles. He's just warming up. He was unbelievable. And who gets the game ball? Well, you know what? A lot of good candidates in Tom Brady's play. He's the leader in the clubhouse. Von Green, Steve McNair. I'm telling you, you and I couldn't believe Courtney Brown looking very Bruce Smith-like. And so the Chicago Bears, magic, and the Baltimore Ravens, resilience, and the Green Bay Packers, resilience, they headline a day.
Well, yeah, and I started this show with this. You're only safe in this league if you have a bye, if you're not playing.
Enjoyed it, Thomas.
Thank you.
For Tom Jackson, I'm Chris Berman. Thanks for watching NFL Prime. And the Pack have their eye on first. Will the Monsters of the Midway run out of miracles? Can the Steelers jumpstart their kicking game against the Browns? Would the Finns endure a nail-biting finish in Indy? Did Curtis, my favorite, Martin, score a trifecta? How many yards did a well-rested Falk rack up? Will Donovan and the Eagles devour the Vikes? Can the Bronx knock the Surge out of the lightning bolts? Will the 49ers stop the Saints from marching in? NFL Prime Time next.
NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Primetime is Miller time. And now, here's your host, Chris Berman.
Hello once again, everybody. Welcome to Week 9 of NFL Primetime. Chris Berman, along with longtime, dare I say it, sidekick Tom Jackson. And Tommy, finally, you know, we talk about teams kind of stepping up and establishing themselves within their division. Well, almost every game on this day was divisional game.
Well, and that's why they become so important now. We're getting to the halfway point, and certainly every game now in your division against one of those opponents almost counts double.
Well, and 2 teams that know each other very well because they both made the playoffs a year ago, and then they played each other right away. AFC East combatants, Miami and Indianapolis. Here we go from the big horseshoe. Miami won 2 of 3 last year, including the all-important postseason game. Marvin Harrison in, Edgerrin James is not. Dolphins getting pumped. Harrison, for him, at times has had a quiet year, but not today. Although, look at this. Travis Minor majors in tightrope skipping down the sideline. That's a superior run. 7-3 Miami, 56 yards in the first quarter. Uh-oh. Still 7-3 second quarter. Peyton Manning. Marvin Harrison, double team, doesn't matter, 9 yards, that's pretty. 10-7 the Colts. Later in the second, tradition, J.P. lap to Chris Chambers, one of the Chambers brothers, 74 yards, 14-10 Dolphins. The later second, Manning is going to be picked off by Sam Madison from Louisville. But he leaves the game, and I don't know, Tom, is he going to Louisville? No, the Dolphins hope not. A slight concussion, bruised shoulder, but made a good play. 17-10 Miami, third quarter. Manning pump fake. Harrison in the corner. Touchdown, 17 all.
Yeah, we'll take another look at it here. Watch Brock Marion at the safety spot. Jameer Fletcher on the second spot. You're looking for the corner to fade on this play. He starts to do it late, doesn't get back in time. Touchdown, Manning.
Colts punt from their own territory. Jeff Ogden makes the hit on Travis Minor. It's a fumble. And the Colts have it. And they're in business in Miami territory. So from the 40, right away, I love this first play action. Manning, Harrison, wide open, 40 yards. Colts have the lead, 24-17. With the score 24-20 now in the fourth. Manning, Harrison, first down. But, Peyton bloodied on a helmet-to-helmet shot. Swollen jaw. We'll have x-rays later to see if it's broken. Let's hope not. Lorenzo Bromell with the hit. And that brought in Mark Rippon for a series. With James out, Dominique Rhodes has been a human highlight reel. But on this play, oh no, it's a fumble, and Jason Taylor's on it. Dave Wannstedt said finally the defense has made the big play. So here comes Miami. Fiedler. Time has come today for Chris Chambers. 29 yards, and the Dolphins have come from behind. Jim Morrison, no time to wallow in the mire. Later, it's 27-24. Manning, Harrison. Ooh, just out of his reach, Tom, with Surtain all over him.
Yeah, and you see the move inside. Surtain bit on it, does a bit of holding to catch up with the play. As long as they don't get called, it's not illegal.
4th and 21, 32 seconds left. Manning hoping just out of the dive of Terrence Wilkins at Miami, which won 2 of 3 from the Colts last year. Miami, which has now won, oddly enough, 4 straight at Indianapolis. Miami maintains their lead in first place in the AFC East at 6-2. They win it by the count of 27-24. Almost 400 yards for Miami against the Colts. And it's odd because a lot of what we think these teams... Look, first of all, it's a fun game.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
Fun game. And they come from
and
behind
Miami
against the Colts.
wins.
And they seem to play with confidence against the Colts. But isn't it interesting that these two teams, what we think and what they think are some of their strengths, haven't really played out this year.
Yeah, and I think
far,
more importantly, what Dave Wannstedt thinks in case of the Miami Dolphins, he wants to run the ball well with Lamar Smith. Today, he only had 53 yards. So the strength of that team is not Jay Fiedler throwing the football. It's their ability to run and then set up the deep pass with play-action pass and play solid defense. And then when you look at the Indianapolis Colts, I think they missed Edgerrin James. They didn't get the yardage, 42 yards rushing today by their lead back. And then Peyton Manning, again, 2 more picks, 3 more sacks, so not playing up to par with what we think is Peyton Manning's status.
And hopefully not hurt very badly. By the way, the leading tackler for the Colts, Mike Peterson, a torn PCL, not ACL or MCL, but a PCL. And Kevin Gilbride telling us
posterior.
You might be able to play with that. They don't know yet. A PCL, not the Pacific Coast, but not what the Colts needed in a loss to drop them to 4-4. Meanwhile, in the AFC East, Buffalo is at New England, and no one circles I-495 around Foxborough like the Buffalo Bills. Had to try it. 1-6. Could they beat Tom Brady and the Patriots? Patriots try to go over 500. And let me tell you about a man named Brady. Brady, Kevin Fogg, into the shadows, 7-0 New England. First. The score is 7-3 going into the third now. Brady, remember he and David Patton a couple of weeks ago against Indy? And this is going to be incomplete, but Antoine Winfield doesn't like the call. They call it, though, Tom, interference.
Yeah, they call interference at the back of the end zone. When they showed the replay, you actually got a pretty good look at Winfield actually getting him, pushing him out of the end zone. A
Buffalo Bill last year, now a Patriot, and you know he loved this touchdown. Antoine Smith, 14-3 New England. In the fourth, after Terrell Buckley sacks Rob Johnson, he would leave the game with an injured right shoulder. They'll know more on Monday, but this was just after he made a great play that was nullified by a penalty. So while he's gone, this is Tom Brady back to pass. But meanwhile, the game is not over. Kendrick Office causes a fumble. Dave Foreman, 55, gets it. And here he is, Alex Van Pelt. And Van Pelt, who's been around for a while, hits Peerless Price for a touchdown, 17 yards, throws a 2-point completion. It's 14-11. Onside kick, it's a good one. Buffalo almost gets it, but New England gets the ball. And then, look at this run. Boom, 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 boom. Antoine Smith, 42 of his 100 yards. You know, these were sweet yards as the Patriots go over 500 as they beat the Buffalo Bills 21-11. So New England with some running game, and they're winning again with Brady. They just seem to have that snap again.
Yeah, and a little bit of balance to this New England offense now. Searching for a running back ever since Robert Edwards disappeared from this offense years ago. Maybe Antoine Smith now giving them what they need in terms of balance.
And Greg Williams, first year at the Bills at the halfway mark, 1-7. 1978, when Herman Edwards played defensive back for Dick Vermeil, and the two helped combine to pull off the miracle of the Meadowlands. Edwards against Vermeil today, and Edwards said, Curtis, my favorite, Martin, the leading rusher, and Priest Holmes is the second leading rusher in the NFL. So, was it going to be a ground war? I like the way Herman's done everything here in his first year. Every time his team doesn't play classy football, he speaks out, and he's not afraid to gamble on 4th and 2. Tom Tupa-Low-Honey with the completion to James Dirt. And so the drive keeps going, although the Jets don't score on the drive despite the 4th down gamble. Trent Green picked off by Victor Green. It was Gang Green against Trent Green today, who was picked off 3 times, and he's had a few games this year, Tom, when he's looked, frankly, somewhat lost.
Well, he certainly struggled for this football team at the quarterback position. 4th and 1 at the 25. Herman decides to go for it. And why not when you have Curtis, my favorite Mark? 25 yards, 14-0. And watch the move that he puts on Greg Wesley right there. Wesley thought he was going to go out of bounds. Martin cuts back inside, high steps into the end zone.
So the score is 17-0 Jets now in the 3rd. Here is Martin off right tackle, then to the middle, then back outside, 15 yards. And he caps it off from the 5, just in there. 4 carries, 43 yards on that drive. All double-digit carries except the TD. And the Jets go on to win impressively 27-7. Hey, don't look now, Tom. The New York Football Jets are 6-3.
And isn't it just like clockwork? You look at the numbers there, the 20 carries for over 100 yards. That is Curtis Martin every single weekend.
And he passed the great Jim Taylor for 16th on the all-time rushing list.
Great job.
Certainly an impressive name to pass. Martin moves up the list. Cowboys, Falcons. And now here's some guys who you know. Mike Vick, first NFL start. Ryan Leaf, well, I haven't started for a while. How do you get that? Oh, yeah, there it is. Ryan Leaf, first start for a while, first for Dallas. Meanwhile, some people call him Maurice. Others call him the gangster of love. Maurice Smith, 44 yards down to the 30. He had 148 yards rushing for Atlanta. Vick, play action to Algie Crumpler, and Algie looks like plankton. He's in the end zone. It's 7-3. Well, that's a heck of a play around the pylon. Then Leaf, play action to Jackie Harris. You hear from him once every 5 years. It's a touchdown. 13-7 Dallas. And then Darian Gordon got in the action here, and he can do this on punt returns, Tom.
Well, he's a former Bronco. He's done a great job of this with whoever he's been with, including the Raiders as well.
Chargers.
You see him with the Chargers as well. Cut up the middle of the field, go north-south, make a couple of cuts, get what you can out of the punt return. And right there, he's going to be brought down right about the 15-yard line.
Watch this play. This is not Vick in at quarterback. It is Doug Johnson. This is a pretty impressive throw. Rolling and firing nice to Brian Kozlowski. 17-13 Atlanta with 5.5 to go in the 3rd. Now, 16 seconds to go, down by 7. Leaf trying to make something happen. Keith Brooking makes the pick, and the Falcons hold on to beat Dallas 20-13 for Atlanta. They're even at 4-4. Say what you will, despite 4 of 12 for 32 for Vick, 14 of 22 for 114 for Ryan Leaf. Neither exactly lighting it up.
Yeah, but I think Dan Reeves making a lot of the right moves. He saved this young quarterback, Mike Vick, until now. He gets his first start. Maybe he'll improve as the season goes on.
When we return, Jacksonville was 2-0, but Tom Coughlin's team trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. Dick LeBeau and the Bengals looking perhaps to go 5-3 if they can win it. John Kitten had a 300-yard day. Here's the world-famous Kitten, a T.J. Hash-Manzada connection. Hash-Manzada. Hash-Manzada. Peter Warwick here, and both those tricky Bengals.
Well, watch the young receiver. He's going to push T.J. Slaughter inside, then go outside, block Fernando Bryant. That's a great job by a wide receiver helping Corey Dillon to get into the end zone.
Bengals lead 13-7 at the half. In the 3rd, Mark Brunell and Jimmy Smith, they're just so good at this. They're just so good at it. 14-13 Jaguars. Next drive, Brunell looking for Smith again. Who wouldn't? Artrell Hawkins called for pass interference, and then to add to it, Takeo Spikes unsportsmanlike conduct. So he added up the penalties. It's 52 yards on one play of penalty. So then it's Stacy Mack. Touchdown, 21-13 Jaguars. Brunell, later 3rd, rolling. That's just a pretty pass to a wide-open Keenan McCardell, who fires it in the wall. And the Jags lead 28-13. John, get out of there. Get out of there. Not out of there. Go forward. It doesn't matter. Just at this point, the game is over. Safety. Jacksonville. Well, that feeling hasn't been around since almost summer, right? It's 2 weeks in September, but they look good there. 30-13 for the Jags, holding Dillon to 58 yards.
That's the key. You come out, you hold Dillon to 58, you put the onus on John Kitna to have to win the football game. This team has a problem throwing the ball.
On we go to Pittsburgh and Cleveland, a great rivalry renewed. Both are contenders. Pittsburgh in first place. Both teams lost heartbreakers last week. Chris Brown was, of course, went only 1 for 5 last week in field goals, and the dog pound let him hear it early. But then there's Jerome. Hey, wait a minute. Look at former Steeler Orpheus Roy, the equivalent of a 2-run homer for Jim Thome, 2-0 Cleveland. Tim Couch. Tom, I just feel O.J. did it. He did. O.J. Santiago, touchdown, 9-0 on a touchdown pass from Tim Couch. I just feel that way.
Yeah, and early on in this game, Cordell Stewart not getting a whole lot of help from his wide receivers here, going to Plexico burst in the end zone.
Plexiglass.
Just a drop right at the front part of the end zone. And again, second quarter, 9-6 Browns. Stewart's going to scramble, going to throw the ball deep. Look, he's making something happen out of nothing. Right there, a ball that's tipped, but Troy Edwards still had the opportunity to make the catch for him.
Cleveland leads 12-9 in the third, own 36. Pittsburgh, Cordell Stewart, this is set up beautifully. Look at even the block already in the backfield. Famous Amos Zaraway to the midfield stripe, and he comes back to the middle, to the 40, to the 30. He could go all the whoa, he doesn't quite go all the way. He's tackled out of the 2-yard line. What a big play, though, for Pittsburgh. Next play, Cordell Stewart looking, trying to make something happen. Nothing there, nothing here. He sees the end zone, but Tyrone Rogers knocks it out of bounds. Now, wait a minute. Red flag challenge for Butch Davis, because let's see, Tommy.
Yeah, watch Tyrone Edwards hustle over to make this play, and watch the pylon. You could see the ball pass behind it, made it a pretty easy call for the official.
And a big break for Cleveland. Pittsburgh was on the 1, but instead it's a touchback, and now it's Cleveland's ball. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh, when they get it back, Chris Brown, 37-yard field goal, good. He had 4 field goals. He went out to practiced 35-yard field goals. The distance that he had missed the week before was 16 for 16 in Wednesday's practice. Jason Gildon, one of 7 sacks for the team, 3.5 for him, 34 for the Steelers on the season. Under 2 minutes to go, 3rd and 8, Pittsburgh. Cordell stopped short of the first down. Bill Cowher says, well, Chris Brown, you're hot. 12-12 game. Let's go. 45-yard attempt. He missed right. Last week, he misses left here. They made 4 or 5, but this one, and look at Cowher supporting his kicker. It goes so far. In overtime, toss Pittsburgh. Jerome Bettis, 12-12 game. The bus, rumbling for 27. And with Brown instilled with the coach's confidence, he's out for a 32-yarder to win it. Right down the pipe. Good. It's good. All 15 points on field goals by Chris Brown. Redemption? I guess so. Pittsburgh hands Cleveland. 2nd straight heartbreaking overtime loss. Brown the hero with 5 field goals. Talked about the kick.
I told Jerome, you know, right before overtime, I said, you guys just get the ball down there and give me another chance. And he told me, he said, we're going to give you another chance.
Would you like to get to the point where you're not having press conferences after games?
I'd like it if I never talked to one of you guys ever again, personally.
Well, I mean, you understand it. I mean, if he wasn't in the spotlight, that means
Yes,
the team would be
yes,
scoring today.
yes.
Look, the Pittsburgh, is there any team, I know the Raiders have done this, and we know exactly who the Rams are, but if anyone else is there, do we know exactly who they are? It would be the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And I think that's exactly what makes them as consistent as they are. They come out every single weekend with the idea of running the football no matter who they're playing. This is the 4th time this year that they have been over 200 yards. You had Jerome Bettis moving into 12th all-time on the rushing list ahead of Ricky Waters, now chasing after O.J. Simpson. So, you know, this team absolutely knows who they are, and they've been successful as anybody doing what they do, which is running the ball.
163 for Bettis. And let me, again, 2nd straight week, including the loss to Baltimore. I mean, they double the figures or more of the opponent, 428 to 187.
Yeah.
Only problem, if they got a touchdown here or there, they would be mauling teams.
You know,
mauling.
with the exception of Jacksonville, it's the whole division.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's going to be a nail-biter every week. All the more important to have your field goal kicker on the same page with the ball club, and Chris Brown was on this day. When we return, Tampa going up to winless Detroit, with the Lions show some teeth And Amon Green and the oldest Gladiators on Sunday Night Football in Seattle, bottom of the hour. The Detroit Lions trying to get off the schneid that's seen them go to 0-7 in the Millen Morningweg era. They're hosting Tampa. Warren Sapp zeroing in on Charlie Batch. Brad Johnson. This is a true screen. It's about a 2-foot pass to Warwick Dunn. Swimming for 12 yards. 10-0. Tampa Bay. 2 minutes left. Second quarter.
Yeah, pretty complex setup, though. You watch Warwick Dunn. Robert Forshea is going to come. He's going to chip him just a little bit inside, then immediately gets outside. Good delivery of the ball, and then look at the downfield blocking. 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks, and Warwick Dunn into the end zone.
So 10-0 at the half. Now the Lions just looking for something. Batch to Corey Schlesinger, and see down. Even there, it doesn't look like a fumble, but Tampa Bay smartly. Rondé Barber picks it up. He doesn't sprint, but he's in the end zone. Then we'll talk about it. So first, they rule on the field touchdown, but it's challenged by Morningweg, and as you freeze it, you can see why they won the challenge.
Well, boom, not only is his knee going to be down, but as you watch it, his whole body's going to be down on the ground before the ball pops out. But the ref didn't have a good view of it. He was standing actually behind the play.
Next play, 17 refs real slow on a lot. 17 refs real slow on a lot of these reviews in this game, by the way. This is puzzling. Tampa wins it. They're 4-4, hosting the Bears next week in some sort of position.
And the thing I love is you keep watching Warwick Dunn and watching him work for his quarterback, the chip of Forshea and then the touchdown. That last pass that we showed that he caught, he was flat on his belly. He got up and gave Johnson somewhere to throw the football.
60 receiving, 51 running. He doesn't mind being a workout. And now atop the NFC North, the great Gale Sayers at Soldier Field to watch the great Brett Favre and the Packers to see if the Bears could stay in first by one game. The 162nd meeting, the longest rivalry in the NFL. Favre, now Mike Brown did in overtime the last 2 weeks at Soldier Field. Let's get started early, shall we? Interception, but this was about the only foolish pass that Brett would throw. But this did set up Paul Ettinger, 47-yard attempt. You tell me what happened. Doink! It's good. 6-0. Dub Bears with a score of 6-3. Favre. Watch this. Zing! Oh, man, are you kidding me? To Billy Schrader. Touchdown. The Pack lead 10-9 at the half. What a laser.
And we know that Brett Favre can make all the throws, and one of the great things about Brett Favre is that he has such a short memory. You saw the interception to Mike Brown earlier on, but watch him here. He rolls, he throws back to the middle of the field to William Henderson, something you're not supposed to do, but Brett again has that short memory. Then again, rolling to his left, and look at the zip on that football to Antonio Freeman.
9-yard touchdown, 17-9. Pack. Now early moments, fourth, Favre forced out. Touch to Freeman. Setting up a long-well field goal, 20-12, the Packers. With over 4 minutes to go, another Bear miracle. It had to happen. The fans said it had to happen. Jim Miller playing the whole way. No Shane Matthews band. First play of the drive, Miller to Marty Booker, was a workhorse all day. Makes a 25-yard play up to his own 45. A 3rd and 5, Miller to Des White, first down. Under 2 minutes to go, 3rd and 7. Miller from the Pack 41 to Fred Baxter. And Bo Jew is called for pass interference. I didn't think that was pass interference, Tom. Jew? With 1:17 left, 4th and 3. Miller, Booker, and it's a first down. Here comes another miracle. You can smell it. Then Miller on 4th and 4. Wait a minute. I mean, James Allen, who caught a Hail Mary, couldn't catch this swing pass to keep the drive alive?
Yeah, and certainly this ball is thrown a little bit behind him, but boy, if your team is going to win, you got to figure out a way to make plays. Get your hips around, get your arms in front, make that play.
Hey, look, 3 straight miracles at Soldier Field, impossible, as Ted Washington and Brett Favre talk. And the Green Bay Packers have now knotted the Bears first place in the NFC North Division. Each team is at 6-2 at the halfway mark. Brett Favre, he had that laser.